Hello and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. I am Mark Storrs, and with me, as always, is
Chris Conasawi
and
Rob Morphy.
Thank you all so very much for joining us, Robert. Patreon, we got some shout outs to do from the good folks that support us over there at patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast. Let's get started.
We sure as the fudge do. And while I'm getting there, I got to say, we're going to get to thank yous later. We're sipping some fine gift whiskey, and oh boys, these are boisterous. It is a taste sensation.
Yeah,
Yes.
my face is hot now.
Yeah, it is. I've got a little bit of the bourbon sweats.
Well, you poured my thing, and I'm like, yep, that's the deal.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
There it
actually,
is.
I just went for a refill.
a good listener of ours, Corey Simpson, we will be giving him another shout out at the end of this. But yes,
Absolutely.
he provided a glorious box of booze. And may I say, too, for Mr. Simpson here, and I will reiterate this at the end of this episode, it was the perfectly packed box of booze I have ever goddamn seen in my entire life. It was. I should have taken a picture of the unboxing because the packaging in this thing was pristine.
Perfect.
Wow. That's
should have.
wonderful.
We know a gentleman who was at one point a professional box packer.
Sure.
He was also into karate, drums, and smoking a lot of weed.
Sure.
All
All
that
goes
aside,
together.
this dude's unbelievable.
Dang.
Corey fucking nailed
And you
it.
have your own little unpacking parties. You have your own little fan base.
I do.
In a little secluded corner of the world where they get to see our gifts before we do. And these ladies
I know, right?
delight in Mark's unboxing technique.
They do. But actually, these were unboxed in front of my kids because I was running a little bit late. So unfortunately, the girls at the shop didn't get to see it, but I will send them pictures.
But it was perfect fucking packing. All right. You know what?
Save it.
Patreon.
Patreon, let's do it.
We're going to begin with a solid stand-up all-American name and or, I guess, Greek
Killer.
warrior. Yeah, killer. Butch
Killer.
Killerton. Jason.
My favorite horror slasher and my new one of my favorite patron currently, Jason. Thank you.
My favorite leader of the Argonauts.
Yeah.
if I may.
My two cousins.
There you go.
Both Jason.
Both
Yeah, it's
Jasons.
true.
Yes.
Good folks. All right, we're going to move on with Christian Canello.
Thank you so much, Christian.
Jimothy Bean.
Hell yeah, Mr. Bean.
Oh, I like that bourbon, too.
I
Jimmy
love
Yeah,
Bean.
yeah, smooth. Jimothy. Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, thank you.
Matthew Homan.
Hell yeah, Matthew.
Brian Linder.
Yo, what up, Brian?
Esteban Castillo.
An awesome name. What up, Esteban?
I know. Why do we have American names?
I know.
Fucking America. Dr. Rocktopus, the neighbor of the beast. As he is, and I love this, the 665th patron.
Oh, so
You
somewhere,
missed it by just one.
somewhere out there, we should
Alistair, maybe.
Oh, you're right.
we gotta track down that 666th one.
No doubt. Could it be Thunderwolf?
Oh, it could be.
I mean,
Thunderwolf.
chronologically speaking, it might be.
It should be, but I would have to look at when people come on and people drop off. But you know what? Fuck it. For the hell of it, we're gonna say the 666 member of our Patreon is Thunderwolf.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Dang.
Fuck yeah.
But still, the neighbor of the beast. That's the guy you want to rock with, because the one that's famous, the one that's going to do it, the one that's like the harbinger of the end, that's great, and you certainly want to be on his good side and or hers.
Yeah, well, yeah.
yeah.
But the neighbor of the beast is the one that's, he's got all the fucking, he's got your ends on the barbecues. He knows what day recycling is.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a good buddy to like throw back a few brews and watch like a bad 80s horror film. That's the guy.
True.
That's the guy I'm looking for.
He's me, basically.
Oh,
I'm the
100%.
neighbor of the beast.
And that's
What about
Sweet.
the other neighbor of the beast, though? Because there's 667.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But
That's true.
Is that
if
the
you're-
enemy?
If you're the after of the beast, the afterbirth of the beast.
That's actually my neighbor, Chris.
is the afterbirth of
Definitely,
the beast.
yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, he's a fucking solid stand-up dude and my new drinking partner. We got some corrections real quick here. Kirsten Grant.
Yep.
We
As
screwed it up.
opposed to, I know I massacred it.
We screwed something up. I don't really
I'm
remember
sure you
what
said
it was.
Kristen.
Kristen
I probably
or something.
did.
I
yeah,
know.
but,
It was me, but yeah.
but no, that is again Kirsten Grant.
Kirsten, thank
and
you.
actually, I said we would do a correction. He didn't really want one, but we're going to do it anyway. Dark Hero Dan. We definitely transformed this into a fucking new
Hyper Kaiju. I
a
remember
new
that.
Godzilla creature or whatever. But Dark Hero Dan, thank you so very much. We appreciate all the
Dad.
support over there at the patrons, patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast. This week we are going back to something which is going to be a little bit of a follow-up. We're going to have Rob kind of give us some info on that. But we're talking about Night Siege, the missing children of El Yunque.
It is an amazing, terrifying, horrible phenomenon. And to be honest, the shit that goes on in El Yunque National Forest, which is in Puerto Rico, and is the only tropical forest in the American forestry realm. I'll mention that later. It is so goddamn sinister and crazy. I can't believe people are sleeping on it as much as they are. I know, of course, Puerto Rican Fortean investigators have been, in their like swimwear since day one. But I really think this should be the new hotspot. Fuck all the shit you think you know about all these other classic places that we're going to bring up in a second.
Okay.
This is the shit, and people really need to get up in there before fucking it's played out.
Well, when this comes out, it's going to fucking explode, and
there you go.
we're claiming it right now.
We are.
There it is.
We're planting the flag.
You're going to get sued. We're just saying.
Nice.
Get fucking ready.
All right, let's get started with, like Utah's Skinwalker Ranch, Puerto Rico's El Yunque National Forest is a seeming supernova of often alarming and always perplexing paranormal phenomena. And in the early 1970s, a group of campers would have a series of increasingly terrifying encounters with a trio of enigmatic entities and a pack of monsters that held them hostage in a night-long siege of unrelenting horror.
Unrelenting.
That's the worst.
It's
what
merciless.
kind of horror, right?
It
Yeah.
is.
No, because
relenting horror is like, oh, it's going to end. It's going to
semi-relenting.
relent.
Yeah, relaxed horror is not good. It's uncomfortable.
Right, soft horror.
Yeah, soft horror. Oh, could you imagine that? WHOR, soft horror.
That's, it's like Skinamax horror.
Oh, yeah,
It's just
definitely.
it's like a
Not
it's a-
quite there.
Yeah, it's like a weird hug.
like fucking Lady from Ipanema versions of fucking the Halloween theme by John Carpenter.
There you go.
It's there, but it's a little sweeter for you.
All right, Bobby, bring us to El Yunque. Let's do this.
And the exciting part is, this is going to serve as one of the much heralded follow-ups to the El Verde entity, which we've talked about before. We've talked about follow-ups to Vegetable Man and the Frogman and all sorts of things. But the El Verde entity, I'm going to give a breakdown of it, so I'm not going to get into it now. Probably some of you remembered it was episode 19. This took place in the exact same place at almost the exact same time as the other events we're going to deal with tonight. So it
All right.
to me makes it even a more fascinating flat.
Dang.
Dope.
Without the further. Wedged in the northeastern portion of Puerto Rico's Rio Grande municipality and strangled in a near constant cloud of fog, Pico El Yunque, or the Anvil Peak, stands some 3,540 feet above sea level and is the second highest point in the Sierra de Lequillo mountain range. Residing entirely within the 28,000 acres of El Yunque National Forest, this biologically diverse subtropical region, which is the only tropical rainforest under the U.S. Forest Service jurisdiction, harbors hundreds of unique species of reptiles, birds, amphibians, and plants, including, according to many eyewitnesses, creatures that simply should not exist.
Oh, shit. It's like the worst family safari ever.
It's probably onions.
That would be an awful family safari. Yeah.
Scallions.
Why are they here?
They're
mean,
delicious.
I enjoy
Honestly,
them
sauteed
personally.
onions are super delicious.
Sauteed.
You get the family, you pack them in the car, you
Sauteed.
go to El
Nobody
Yunque.
wants to like eat a fucking raw onion like an apple.
A lot
but
of
somebody
people,
does.
A
Yeah.
lot of people I know love raw onions.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
like
that's a
it.
mistake.
I like
You
them.
saute those
Well, they're
motherfuckers.
getting unraptured.
They love butter. They make love to the butter. They sizzle with the butter. They're delicious.
I like them in
Sauteed.
I like them as a salty brown.
There it is.
That's it.
I mean, raw in my salad's fine.
See, he's the asshole.
Also, my favorite jazz musician by far, Salty Brown.
Yeah, totally.
Salty
She
Brown.
was
Yeah,
brilliant.
exactly.
Way ahead of her time.
Perfect.
For centuries, the park and the mountains that dwell therein have been associated with all manner of paranormal phenomenon, including myriad UFO sightings, hairy wild men, wraiths, everyone's favorite,
Sweet.
Nordics, greys, radioactive flora. You might remember that from episode 19. Cattle mutilations, small-bodied, bulbous-headed beings. We're talking Dover demon type fuckers.
Nice.
Marian apofucking-rishans. Probably not appropriate to say.
An
with the mother of the Lord.
Yeah, I mean,
And the disappearances of numerous individuals, many of whom are, tragically, children.
This place sounds awful, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is
That's
the
kind
hot
of-
spot.
yeah,
It
it's a
is
nightmare.
the new paranormal fucking Six Flags. It's on.
There you go. Bring the family.
Puerto Rico's indigenous Taínos people regard El Yunque with Olympian awe, as they believed it to be the home of their creator god, Yokahu. This reverence was only amplified by the brilliant displays of inexplicable light that would periodically shoot through the cloud-shrouded peak, illuminating it in a dazzling, almost ethereal glow. So we're talking orbs? Or
Not lightning.
ball lightning? Or mini UFOs, or atmospheric mayhem,
Yeah.
or brujas, because a lot of people thought it was witches and still do.
Oh, I forgot. That's always in the.
Always. That's going to be on
ready.
the list.
It's on the ready.
Yeah.
It's there.
Diabetes,
It's on the
devil,
starting line.
Bruja.
Fucking bro, I just waited like, can I join?
No, but it's not lightning.
But it's
No,
never,
it's
never lightning.
Shut your fucking mouth.
It's never lightning.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not lightning.
Tempting as it may have been for the more courageous of the bunch to climb the rugged inclines for a closer look, legend had it that anyone who dared to scale the mountain would fall victim to evil spirits known as maboyas, who could, like old-world biblical demons, suddenly vanish with their victims, leaving only the vile stench of sulfur in their wake.
Oh, it's just a cloud of farts and sadness.
Yeah.
That's
just
demons,
the worst.
though.
That's a demon for you.
My child's gone and someone farted. Awful.
But not all missing person cases date back to prehistory. One particularly haunting account hails from the 1970s, a report that we covered back in episode 19, the El Verde entity, alien cryptid demon or radioactive mutant. Let's take a moment to recap and update that disturbing encounter. I did come across, obviously, new research, so I'm just going to bolster it up a smidge. In late October of 1973, Jose Antonio Alamar Sr. and his wife Anna drove down the craggy dirt roads that wound their way through the densely wooded regions of El Yunque National Forest. The duo were heading toward El Verde, accompanied by their 5-year-old daughter and some friends. But, as beautiful as the region was, their agenda was anything but recreational. Just 3 months earlier, on July 25th, their youngest child, 7-year-old Jose Jr., had vanished without a trace near the foot of the mountain. He would be just one of 5 officially reported cases of children who went missing in El Yunque between 1961 and 1976, though others have reported that many other victims may have been swept under the proverbial carpet. It's a hotbed of missing babies. One such newspaper account by Hermes Rivera titled "Abductions in El Yunque, Are Aliens Responsible?" claimed, quote, "About 10 years ago, some 15 children disappeared in El Yunque while on a school trip. The teacher responsible for the trip committed suicide because the students were never found," end quote.
Jesus Christ.
Grim. Whether the educator's desperate act of self-destruction was brought on by unrelenting guilt over his failure to protect his charges or actual culpability was never ascertained.
Yeah, because either he feels real bad because the kids got lost or he killed the kids.
Or he killed kids.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean,
Fuck's sake.
Either way, both awful fucking situations.
Oh, no. In some ways, it's worse if you're not a killer. If you're a killer, then you're a fucking killer and you're a piece of shit and then you're probably cool with it.
I mean, I feel like
But if you're not a killer and you take 15 kids into the woods
And
to
they
like
get lost?
say, look, here's a butterfly, here's a fern.
Yeah, that would make
there's
more sense.
nobody. Everyone's fucking gone.
And the poor fucking parents. That's awful.
Yeah.
Jesus
Can't even
Christ.
imagine.
All right. Well, fuck.
Authorities believed that the Tupamaro revolutionaries, just a rebel group in the area, may have been responsible for the abduction, as they had previously threatened to kidnap and hold both U.S. and Latin American children for ransom.
Oh, Jesus.
But this group never laid claim to the kidnappings, nor was any ransom requested. Intriguingly, the actual searchers on the ground claimed to have confronted an entirely different culprit. Quote, "A search team from the U.S. sent to the mountain to try to find the missing youths ran into a short humanoid creature wandering around the bushes. As soon as the creature realized it had been seen, it ran and disappeared. The search was fruitless. No trace of the creature or the missing children was ever found, end quote.
I mean,
it might be unrelated, but it's still fucked up.
It could be a weird pig.
Oh,
you know?
what the fuck?
I mean, I don't know.
Why would you
could
say
be a
that?
weird
Oh my
fucking
God,
pig.
You just fucking literally invented the swamp gas of cryptozoology.
Did you
Could be a weird pig.
Did you recently see that video of the fucking goat walking on its hind legs?
I've seen goats
No.
walk on their
Could
hind
be a
legs.
pig.
Yeah, but
Could
I've
be a
seen them
weird
before.
pig. Dude,
And what way did that make Chris?
Did you see the goat? Did you see the goat walking on its hind legs? Could be a pig.
Yeah. The fuck are you doing with your mind, man? You're wearing pit vipers at night. It's corroding your brain.
listen.
It's the Samson effect. Your hair is longer than it was last week.
That's a Patreon exclusive.
Oh,
Save
boy.
it for Patreon.
There it is. All right. Another ill-fated field trip. Yeah, there's more.
Oh, God.
Occurred in 1965 when 8-year-old Maria Esther Figueroa, who lived just 18 miles from the park in the city of Caguas, vanished in full view of her teachers on a school bus ride through the forest, leaving everyone perplexed.
Oh, that's a
Just
fucking...
on the bus?
So the bus is now, granted, maybe it was written poorly, but the way I've been able to piece it together from the article I read, the bus was going through El Yunque, and maybe it was on a field trip or something. And then at some point, poor Maria Esther is there. And then, the teacher looks around. They're doing a sing-along, whatever the fuck you do on a bus in 65. And then she's gone. Raptured.
Weird.
Full-on fucking forest raptured.
All right, it's
Okay.
strange.
It gets worse. Between 1976 and 78, a pair of 9-year-old kids of Italian heritage went missing in the region, and in the late 1940s, 2 brothers with the last name of Colon, who lived on the road that winds its way up to the Anvil, which is obviously the translation for El Yunque, were reported missing. Based on these reports, it would seem that no child is safe within the confines of El Yunque.
Yeah, no, Jesus
What the
Christ.
fuck?
It's a danger land.
Like, but provided these are actual real, like especially
Fair enough.
the bus one. I'm actually just like, imagine you just get home and your kid's just on a bus trip, and you get home and you're like, yeah, no, you're just
Not there.
just not.
Yeah,
No.
But what about
she was
her
on a
friends?
bus and then just
her friends
wasn't.
aren't there.
Just disappeared.
And that's it. And then you have to live the rest of their lives going, no,
Yeah.
I don't, what the fuck?
And then
That's
you're like,
awful.
what about the bus driver? Oh, no, he's cool. He
Like,
was driving the
nobody
bus.
saw anything.
What about the teacher? Oh, no, the chaperones are good.
Yeah, just the kid disappeared.
Well, what about the 15 fucking kids? Oh, yeah, they're gone. And then, wait, what about the one kid that's just in the back fucking playing patty cake, doing whatever?
It's fucking...
Oh, Maria. Yeah.
It's-
Well, she might have jumped out the window. No one saw it. No one made a mention.
Right. It's just, what do you, that's it. Okay. Just.
Yeah,
Unless there's like a fucking satanic cabal running the elementary schools of that region, Puerto Rico.
well.
And they organize these mass and sometimes solo sacrifices. Again, we'll save that for the speculation portion.
yeah, that's
of
a little
this fine
satanic
show.
panic. Yeah, that's probably not.
Yeah,
a
but
thing,
you know what? Puerto Rico is America. They deserve to have a taste of what we all
man.
chopped down on in the mid '80s.
All right.
Wise. All right.
Wow.
Okay. Back to the El Verde case. In Jorge Martin's article, Mysterious Disappearances of People on El Yunque Mountain, published in the esteemed Flying Saucer Review, the editor of Evidencia OVNI, which just means UFO evidence, reported that the Alomar family had been camping in what was described as, I shit you not, a concrete chalet. I'm sure it's just like a little bunker thing, but they have to rate so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still kind of weird.
Within the park confines when they decided to take a walk through the humid woods. According to Alomar's testimony, their fair-haired, fun-loving son was directly behind them when, without warning, he suddenly vanished. The stunned parents screamed his name and frantically searched the forest, their concern quickly disintegrating into panic as they realized that their boy was nowhere to be found. For weeks, volunteers, police, civil defense forces, and military troops scoured the area searching for any sign of the missing child, but, quote, not the slightest trace of the boy was ever found, end quote. As traumatizing as this event surely was, The terrifying incident which would occur 3 months later on that eerie October eve would only magnify the family's growing horror. According to the report, night fell as Anna and her daughter waited in the car for the search party to return. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by a familiar voice, that of Jose Sr., requesting to be let inside the car. Before Anna could unlock the door, a shadow fell across the windshield and her daughter screeched, "Look at that." Anna gasped at the sight of an impossibly thin, 7-foot-tall humanoid entity, which she described as having, quote, "a great big egg-shaped head and long pointed ears," end quote. Oh, always a comfort. She would go on to describe the thing's deep, unblinking eyes as being huge black ovals. The rest of its features were obscured by darkness. So a lot of you probably will remember that from the El Verde entity episode, which is what this is. But we're just getting a few more details here. One of them was that in the initial translation, I wasn't sure if the entity had mimicked the voice of the missing boy or the husband, but these new reports I've come across all seem to confirm that it was trying to sound like the husband, which is somewhat less insidious, but no less shady.
Yeah, it doesn't blow any less.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because it's almost like trying to like lull you into the sense of like, oh, it's Dad. And then you open the fight
he's coming in,
and fucking eat your face. Which also, if you remember too, from Predator, it also mimics your voice.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
So,
want some
what
candy?
Are you saying? Are you saying it could be a weird pig? I feel like that's what you're saying.
I stand by my statement, good sir.
God bless.
Goats walk and there's weird pigs.
It's a cloaked weird pig.
Yeah, exactly. Just imagine a pig with a weird little...
I know. Symbol.
It's got
explode.
some fucking... that's the fucking best wrap-up. Symbol, explode.
That's literally how the screenplay should have
really
been written.
Is what it should
100%.
Symbols, explode.
Oh, God. All right.
So we're back with Anna, her 5-year-old daughter, some fucking alien fuck all outside the car imitating the husband and dad, and here we are. The terrified pair stared silently at the towering terror when it suddenly lunged forward, placing its massive 3-fingered chicken claw-like hand flat against the windshield. Petrified, Anna slammed on the car horn, shrieking for her husband. Jose Sr. rushed out of the home of a farmer who lived some 150 feet away from where his wife and daughter were parked. But by the time he arrived, the beast was gone. And, tragically, there are no accounts that Jose Jr. was ever found. Years after the event, both Anna and her daughter were convinced that the creature had mimicked the sound of Jose's voice in order to gain entry into the vehicle. To what end, they could only speculate and assume the worst. Anna also made it clear that she believed that her son had been abducted by these inhuman and apparently alien entities, stating, quote, "I never used to believe any of the things that people said about extraterrestrials allegedly seen in the Yunque. But that creature that my daughter and I saw was real. And I think it's got something to do with that business of my boy." That business.
Yeah.
I believe they got to him, and I think I'm going to see him again one day. I have that hope. End quote.
It's so heartbreaking.
Oh,
dude.
it's
I mean, obviously, we all have babies and nephews and nieces and children and shit like that, and that shit fucking keeps me up at night.
If anything, I don't know, man.
Honestly, dude, it's
my
worst fear ever.
I'm not here challenge. If a human being did it, then I would do, of course, everything in my power, as we all would. For the people we love, and even for the people, your people, I would do the same for them.
Yeah.
But if a paranormal fucking thing happened, and I was there to witness it in the sense that...
It's just fucking awful.
Then I would go so hard on the Constantine tip. I would fucking consult every fucking pseudo-magician, every wizard, every whatever. I would go so brutal and hard. I would want to go pinhead on that motherfucker. I would reverse Hellraiser that fucking thing if it took one of my loved ones.
I mean, if you were
my
convinced
whole life would be dedicated to the arcane from that moment on.
Yeah, if you were convinced that stuff was real at that point,
Yeah,
then you dive in and you find the
You
spell,
either,
or you find the
you
fucking...
run and hide, or you dive in. All
Yeah.
of us would dive in.
Yeah,
all
so-
of
Yeah,
us
for
would.
sure.
Yeah, I was just saying, just in general, something happening to our little people in our life. Not necessarily a cult
And, I'm
angle.
not, and by the
but-
way, I'm not throwing that challenge out there.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't want to make that the rest of my life.
Yeah,
however
no,
short or
I don't
long
want to
it
have to
is.
learn runes.
Yeah, we
of
can't.
Offense,
Because then we need
defense.
we need the fucking
don't need that in my
we
life.
need that fucking Dungarian dagger or whatever.
Exactly.
And we got to kill
Yeah.
Jason.
So,
and
you
do
know,
the whole-
any paranormal fans we have out there, and I don't mean, paranormal in the sense you like it, but I mean literally paranormal entities. I know you can listen to podcasts like the rest of us. That wasn't a challenge,
Yeah, no.
just for the record.
no. All
Okay.
right. Well, continuing on.
All right. Impossible, though it may seem, this wasn't the only harrowing paranormal account to hail from the forests of El Yunque Mountain in October of 1973. Not the fucking only one. In fact, terrifying though the Alamar's run-in may have been, it wasn't even the most frightening encounter to take place that week. When I stumbled on this and realized it happened in the same place at nearly the exact same time, it literally blew my
fuck?
titties off.
That's fucking creepy.
It's nuts.
Your tits were just blowing in the wind, weren't they?
They're flopping to this moment. They held
They're
their own,
still
they had their
flopping?
own gravity.
I wasn't sure if it was like a new shirt or
They're
if you're-
twisting around
if
like
your tits were
as
so
if,
twisted.
as if I'm Tempest Storm on a stage in the late 50s.
I know you have perpetual flowing anime tits.
I just got the weirdest picture of Rob. He's like on a Gundam, just tits flapping.
Yeah, no, that's just the way it is
It's just
now.
yeah, no, that's it. No, you just get used to it. Like
Nice.
when people walk in, they're like, the fuck, but friends and allies, they understand. I'm
Oh,
there
that's
to
the
do
deal.
a job,
Right.
and that's what my tits do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
All right, back to El Yunque. That questionable honor, the honor of the scariest moment of October 73, goes to an expedition of 9 hikers who, on that date, trekked up El Yunque to set up camp and hold a night-long vigil in the hopes of catching sight of one of the UFOs frequently seen soaring above its jungle-smothered peak. There's an old, oft-used adage which states, "Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it." And these curiosity seekers who'd hoped to catch a glimpse of a glowing skybound object had no way of knowing that their trip was about to become the living embodiment of that phrase, right before it devolved into total fucking madness. This panic-inducing encounter was first introduced to the public in the now defunct Mexican magazine Extraterrestrial Contact, but made its biggest splash in a 1974 televised documentary, UFOs over Puerto Rico, A Confidential Report, by producer Jorge Marquina. The events, as the strangest cases so often do, began with an ostensibly inauspicious, yet decidedly eerie encounter that transpired on a treacherous cliff-edge trail leading up to El Yunque Peak. Mm-hmm. Expedition leader Heriberto Ramos, along with Efren Arroyo is a gulch, in case you didn't know.
Nice.
That's a little
Oh,
callback
boy.
to a fucking Patreon. Another adult and 6 high school students. So basically, 3 adults, Ramos Arroyo, a guy we don't know, and then 6 high school kids.
Sweet.
Were hiking through the rainforest toward their campsite when Ramos took note of a trio of hikers who were descending the mountain along the same path. At first, there was nothing particularly notable about the 3 men, but as they drew nearer, a few of the campers noticed that they were dressed exactly alike and bore features that were nearly identical. Some mirror men action.
I was gonna say we got some mirror men.
Just triplets that
Just
like,
triplets.
Yeah.
It's a fucking double McGum commercial, except it's a
Yes.
triple McGum.
triple my gum.
I smell mirror men. I'm waiting to get a text from Derek right now. Mirror men?
It's a trio of weird pigs.
Not yet, Derek. It could be
Oh,
weird
boy.
pigs.
Don't overstep your bounds yet.
The conclusions.
Jesus,
I don't even know
I'm
why.
seeing these little, and you know what? They're these like adorable, but like kind of nastified
I don't even know what I
zombie
picture.
piglets, and they're just hanging out. I don't know the picture he's talking about. It's just in my
You said
mind now.
weird pig. I don't know what that means.
Weird pig is now a part of it.
Okay, well I'll let Derek know.
As they slipped past, one of the campers surreptitiously raised his camera to capture an image of the passing triplets. Now, bear in mind, this is 73. This is no subtle fucking iPhone or fucking Android bullshit.
No.
That's like a fucking, probably a Polaroid that's like
the
half
powder,
your torso.
the fucking-
Exactly. Yeah, to fucking ignite it. There's an explosion. You ask him
Can
to
you hold
stand
still for like 3 weeks so I can get this photo? Damn it.
Oh, shit.
So it's probably a Polaroid. Maybe it's a film. I think it's a film camera, actually, because it doesn't get developed till later. He lifts it up. He takes the snap. Curiously, when the shot was later developed, instead of showing the all but indistinguishable strangers, the only thing that could be seen was a patch of mist, quote unquote, where the trio had stood. So they got the woods, they got the trail, but the double mint, triple mint gum commercial, that's
Dude.
just a hazy hunk of
Oh, boy.
amorphous
Convenience.
evil, perhaps?
Enigmatic smoke.
There it is.
There you go.
The entities are indeed. But that was just the beginning of the bizarre happenings that awaited the group. When the party got to an elevation of approximately 3,000 feet, they found a small clearing off the path surrounded by trees, which presumably had an opening to the sky. You know, they're there to see UFOs. And set up camp. Though the UFO watch was evidently unsuccessful, the team was about to come into contact with a gang of unthinkable entities that would spiral their heretofore pleasant evening into a nightmarish odyssey of horror. Just after midnight, those who'd remained dedicated to their skywatch began to hear odd rustling sounds and heavy footfalls emanating from the forest around the campsite. Ramos immediately tensed. As the leader of the expedition, it was his responsibility to safeguard those involved, particularly the younger members of the team. His eyes strained, slowly adjusting to the darkness beyond the clearing, and that's when he caught sight of the ungodly creatures that were causing the racket. Though vaguely humanoid in shape, these wide-eyed, pointy-eared entities were anything but human. Ramos and his cohorts could only stare as these alacritous abominations tore through the dense undergrowth, using their large claw-like hands to shred the vegetation before them. To their horror, Ramos and Arroyo noted that, although there seemed to be only 5 or 6 of them, these incredibly fast fiends were blocking the only path that led down the mountain, effectively severing access to their cars or any hope of rescue. That was when Ramos saw that one of the things had frozen and seemed to be staring directly at him.
Oh, dude, it's almost like a preemptive fucking attack. Like, you guys are down there blocking the path, and then you got the one guy heading up. He's like, I see you.
Yeah, this is definitely the
Is it a
cinema
distraction?
moment
Yeah,
where
or is it the...
you reveal a little bit of the thing.
Yeah, because it could
Right,
be like
like-
a spaghetti western, like it's Blondie and he's eyeing you and you're Eli Wallach and you don't want to be, but that's who you are because fuck it, that's life. And he's looking at you and you're looking at him and you know he's going to fucking get you in the fight, but you got to fucking deal with it because he's eyeballing you.
It definitely has like a coordinated feel to it, for sure.
100%. In his article, El Yunque, Nights on Hell Mountain, author and renowned Fortean researcher Scott Corrales described the scene. Quote, "From a prudent distance, one of the creatures regarded Ramos intently. Upon noticing this, the latter tried walking cautiously toward the eldritch being," one of my favorite phrases, "hoping to show that his group's intentions were amicable." End quote. When he got to within a distance of less than 10 feet from the creature, the brave and reckless Ramos noted that the creature had a triangular, almost mantis-shaped head, and that its eyes were quote-unquote extraordinary. Unfortunately, he failed to mention what specifically made the thing's eyes so unique.
That's a bad word to try to describe something.
Oh, it's because it's so
extraordinary.
broad. It's
Come on now.
different than normal. Is it extraordinary for a bug? Not that I'm saying it's a bug, though. That's definitely one of my theories. Is it extraordinary for an alien? Is it just extraordinary
what does
for a
that mean?
human being?
Right.
Right.
I mean, it could be perfectly fine for a boll weevil or a fucking tree sloth.
Oh, yeah, or a couple weird pigs. Hang on.
Oh, God. Every time I lose the pig thread, you just weave it back in there for me, man. And
I was gonna
appreciate
try
it.
Cannot get out of my head.
Well, Merry Christmas.
It's
You're
one of those
welcome.
things that you said that it's going to be 10 years and I'll be like, dude, that looks like a weird pig.
Yeah, no doubt.
I want to take note here of the mantis description because we fucking know what those fuckers are up to.
Right.
All right.
We definitely know that's some insidious shit.
Yeah.
But just because its head is triangular does not mean it's a mantis. I want to go out of my way to say this. Ramos did not say it looked like a praying mantis or a praying mantis humanoid.
Yeah. Okay.
It had pointy ears,
For now.
big eyes. I saw a sketch of it. We can probably include it. It is a very rough amateur sketch drawn by an eyewitness.
Yes.
But what it does look vaguely like is the El Verde entity.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
with the
another
weird
big
ears,
eye,
yeah.
you know, and even though that was like an inverted egg with big giant elf ears or Hopkinsville goblin ears.
This episode of the Cryptonaut podcast is brought to you by BetDSI.com. Whether you're a novice or professional, BetDSI is the sport book for you. BetDSI.com has been paying winners for over 20 years and offer over 10,000 betting options daily on all the sports that you love to watch. This also includes a live casino and daily fantasy. BetDSI offers betting options for everything. You can bet on the NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, UFC, golf, and all other major sports, politics, reality TV, esports, virtually everything and anything that you can place a bet on. You can do it at betdsi.com. New members get a 100% bonus match by using promo code CRYPTO100. That's more than double your money to start winning today. Use your sports and pop culture knowledge to make some extra cash this week. Once again, go to betdsi.com and use promo code CRYPTO100 and get this limited time 100% bonus offer. Use Bitcoin and get a 100% deposit bonus on your first 2 deposits up to $2,000. It's only a game until you bet it at BetDSI.
In the invaluable report, 1973, Year of the Humanoids, an analysis of the fall 1973 UFO humanoid wave, second edition by David Webb, which, by the way, anyone can find as a PDF, is just, it should be part of your fucking online library.
For sure.
The description given by Ramos offered more details, including the fact that the minatory monstrosities stood between 5 and 6 feet tall, had long arms, and pointed noses to go with their ears.
Weird.
The immobile monster maintained its icy gaze as the now officially fucking insane Ramos continued to approach it. It was almost certain that the rest of the crew behind him watched their foolhardy leader with a sense of inescapable dread. The tension in that muggy patch of rainforest must have been thick enough to cut with a knife. Finally, man and beast stood face to inhuman face, and that's when Ramos, inexplicably, reached out to touch the fiend before him.
Oh, this guy's got fucking balls of steel.
That is fucking...
He's either fucked in the head or he's mesmered. That's all I can think.
Maybe. Or
he's
maybe he just
the
really
bravest-
doesn't believe it. He's just like, nah.
Yeah. Or
I gotta know, because I
mean,
don't
it's-
think so.
it's-
maybe
right?
we can be friends.
Super
I'll touch him.
incredulous.
It's frozen. It's frozen there, staring at him. It's not doing anything. So if he's just coming at it and he goes to touch it,
If this shit happened a decade later in 1983, and I could rationalize that Heriberto fucking had just seen E.T., and he's thinking, you know what? Someone's just got to reach out and be cool.
The finger, yeah.
But this is pre all Spielbergian attempts to make aliens look
Sure.
amicable.
Right.
This is not Close Encounters. This is not E.T. This is an era of, I don't know. I mean, The Exorcist came out that year, and I guess War of the Worlds came out a few years before or whatever. But this, I don't know what's inspiring him to think this is a good fucking idea.
He's not hucking rocks. I mean,
No,
this
and that's
is
a plus.
this is a better move than
The
most.
only thing would be just like, yeah, I don't believe it, and I want to find out what it is.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's like,
Right.
what else could it really be, right? Like,
No, you're right. Maybe.
or he believes it's real and it is balls of steel, but I just think it's...
Or again, there's a hypnotic effect.
Okay.
There's some sort of mesmer or some sort, like so many aliens. I'm not saying these are aliens, but like when Grace tries to say, "Oh, relax, we're really not here to hurt you," or "This giant needle going through your fucking pee hole is not going to fucking hurt you." This thing could be like mesmering him to be like, "Hey man, maybe you wanna give me a little touch? Let's see what it's like."
No.
Who knows? That was just the worst alien voice ever. He's
Yeah,
a scumbag.
Hey, man.
Hey, bro.
total grub.
Really.
Total grub.
He's a back of the mall grubber.
Yeah, no, he's selling.
Hey, man,
he's selling really shitty coke behind a Finger Lakes
And
Mall.
loose cigarettes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. The enigmatic entity, that's one for the old school fans, remained motionless as the human's finger pressed into its epidermis.
Oh, he touched it.
Yes. Ramos would later recall that, quote, its skin felt neither cold nor rubbery, end quote. And what's interesting about that to me is I don't ever speak in negatives.
So it's hot?
So it's hot and rigid?
Not rubbery?
Yeah.
So it's not a boglin.
Like, I don't drink an ice cold Coke and go,
Boglin.
it wasn't lava-like or rigid.
Right.
That's not how I describe a
Yeah,
beverage.
I don't describe things that it is not.
Yeah.
That's
All
why
right,
I like
maybe
this
he's
coffee and
expecting
be
it-
like, well, it's not cold.
It could be a weird translation, though, too.
It could be but it also could be him. Maybe he thought it could be a costume at this point. Because there's lots of legends. There's lots of paranormal things. Obviously, we've discussed it a lot already. A lot of paranormal events that allegedly happened on El Yunque. So maybe he's thinking it's some costume fuck all, and he's expecting it to be rubbery.
Right.
And he's expecting it to be cold because it's a dead piece of latex.
Well,
Right.
And when it's neither, maybe that's what shocks him, and that's how he perceives. Again, that's raw speculation.
That makes sense. But saying it like that, you could have quoted as saying like, I thought it was going to be like cold and it seemed like it'd be cold and clammy or rubbery, and it wasn't.
And it wasn't.
It was this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
But I will say this: not being rubbery doesn't tell you what it is, and it's always better to say what it is and not
Except
what it's
not rubbery.
But that still brings me back to the idea of like some sort of humanoid insectoid, sort of like the mantis, and that maybe it is a carapace. I know I'm taking a tiny bit of non-information and amplifying the fuck out, which is what I do. I mean, that's my job.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's get back to the non-rubber hot thing.
It was at that moment that one of the young ufologists, perhaps overcome by the strains of first contact, ignited a large flashlight, directing the powerful beam toward Ramos. In an instant, the entire area was flooded with a brilliant, bright light. Corrales would describe what happened next. The clawed creature reacted by racing away from the scene, literally tearing a path right through the dense vegetation, which led to a 100-foot drop, giving the startled Ramos reason to think that he had frightened the being into jumping, which is a lot of extra guilt. Like,
okay.
I'm here, I want to meet you, first contact, I touch, fucking asshat who's nervous, like throws the fucking flashlight, one of those big heavy-duty fucking X-Files flashlights at the scene.
Right.
And this thing fucking books over a cliff. And now fucking Ramos is like, well, fuck.
Whoops.
That is not how I planned on this going at all. But the story's not over. And the quote continues, to the man's amazement, it reappeared instantly at the side of its fellows, which were still blocking the downward path.
Oh.
So it might have jumped off the cliff. Maybe it ninja'd its way across a couple branches and bounced back up. I don't know. But it didn't fucking die.
Okay, instant teleport.
Yeah, no doubt. From this moment on, the night siege had begun. The sinister speedsters continued to encircle the campers, weaving back and forth beyond the clearing, snapping leaves and tree limbs with their terrible claws. The only thing that seemed to prevent them from penetrating the circle was the constant threat of the flashlight's beam, which seemed to terrify, if not actually injure, these nocturnal raiders. They're there, they're surrounding, the lights are keeping them at bay. It's like it's classic horror film territory.
So far it's completely a movie.
Totally. Being familiar with the UFO infestation, it's likely that the hikers were also keenly aware of the paranormal lore of El Yunque, as well as the sheer number of people who'd gone missing on the mountain under mysterious circumstances, never to return. There's every reason to assume that each and every soul on that mountain clearing honestly believed that they would never see the light of day. Amid the gasps, screams, and tears, one of the students became so overwhelmed with terror that he began smashing his head with a heavy flashlight in the hopes of knocking himself unconscious. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah,
Presumably his peers prevented him from doing any permanent damage.
Not a good idea. You don't want to smash yourself into unconscious while you're being sieged by creatures.
Like beating your head against anything hoping to render yourself unconscious is a bad sign. It's
real bad.
Yeah.
It means you're in a tough way. But when you're doing it because of the overwhelming terror of that situation, these super clawed, inhuman fuckalls that are just basically mowing the lawn and doing topiary work all around your fucking clearing.
You got to keep your senses, dude.
And I don't even know if they have a fire, because they went there to fucking look at UFOs, and a fire would maybe cancel out some of their visibility. So they might have a tiny campfire. They might have shit all.
Yeah.
Yeah, still.
Except flashlights. But either way, battering your own head in the hopes of losing consciousness, it really is a sign of how fucking frightened you are.
True.
And it's a bad scene, beyond a fucking doubt. So I added, presumably his peers prevented him from doing any permanent damage. All the reports I read, they mentioned that, and they mentioned almost like a one-off, like, hey, ain't that something? And it's true. But also, yeah, that's something you got to stop your buddy from doing. That's a bad call.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the chaos of the campsite, another student was suddenly seized by an incomprehensible urge to wander into the monster-infested forest. Unable to dissuade him and fearing for his mental state, his clearly dedicated friend decided to accompany him with, one presumes, the hope that he could talk him out of his ill-advised excursion sooner rather than later. So again, in all the heat of it, all this bullshit, you got like a 14 or 15-year-old kid. He's like, I gotta go in the woods.
Yeah.
And he's like, Bill, don't do it. He's like, Ray, I got to do it. These are perfect Puerto Rican names. He's like, Bill, please don't. It's like, I'm doing it. He's like, fuck it, I'm going with you. God damn it.
They know what's happening.
Just slip through,
You know,
and then
Ray,
there it is.
Ray's a good friend.
Ray's a good buddy. There's no doubt about that. The duo managed to slip away without any of the adults noticing, and after walking no more than a dozen steps into the shadowy wood, they found what Corrales described as a, quote, glimmering polychromatic egg laying on the ground.
Oh, see,
Jesus.
now, okay.
All right.
It's got to get it now.
All right.
It's got to go to. It's
We're
got to
doing
go
it.
Jodorowsky.
Yeah, we're doing it.
We're heading into El Topo at this point.
Okay.
The iridescent ovum would occasionally flash a pulsating ripple of light, but despite their intense attraction to the object, neither boy could claim the courage to touch it, and they sagely retreated back to the dubious safety of the campsite.
Yeah, fuck the psychedelic. Get back
Good
to where
for
your,
them.
your,
I
your
don't
friends
know,
are,
man.
man.
I feel like I might have had to grab it.
I'm going to just take my shirt off or something and try to grab it.
Oh, yeah, you can't touch it with your bare hands.
That's what I mean.
If sci-fi horror films like The
There's
Blob...
ways to do it. Make a little twig.
Exactly, like a hammock or something.
Yes, and fucking do it.
Or stretcher. I don't know, like a twig.
That's the
Make
word
it
I was thinking
comfortable.
of.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
your
fucking
shirt,
idiots and we
your
don't know
shirt and
words.
2 sticks, and you don't get direct radioactive and or alien embryo or whatever the fuck it would be.
Dude,
There's
your,
ways to get it
contamination.
without touching it, and they should have done it.
Booyah.
your camp's under siege. Get back to safety. Simple.
Grab the fucking egg and get
But you
got
got
to
to get the egg.
Get the money.
Yeah,
Get the proof.
fucking...
Get the
get the
evidence.
money.
Change the fucking face of
Yeah,
science.
sure, first, and then get the money.
But yes, and then get the money. All right. In 1998, Fate magazine published another article Corrales wrote covering the oddities within El Yunque, titled "Cover Up in the Puerto Rican Forest." In this piece, the investigative journalist wondered if the egg-like object might have been, quote, bait of some sort, its pulsing colors designed to mesmerize prey, end quote.
That's how you guys die.
Not if it's in a fucking safety hammock made of flannel or a fucking Bad Religion t-shirt or whatever you got handy.
Yeah,
I'm
just
hanging
don't
out with
touch
the
it.
weird pig, and you guys are dead.
Oh, boy.
You
The
happy?
weird pig kills you.
No, it doesn't. We become friends and podcast hosts.
You're gonna
After
try.
I lose you two.
It's gonna be like, oh great, well, let's be friends. Mark, you lead the way, and then your head's off.
It just kills me.
Yeah.
Fucking weird twist. Okay, I'll take it.
No, it's
Fine.
a weird pig.
It is
The
a
This
weird
isn't
pig.
just a pulsating delight. There's nothing.
You guys have been killed by the pulsating delight. Me and the pig go on iTunes top 10
You're
charts.
headless. We're millionaires.
Me and the pig will go on.
All right, I'm homeless. You guys are millionaires. Fine.
May I speculate? May
Yeah.
I do what I do? Could this contraption have been designed to psychically call out to the boys in an effort to lure them away from the rest of the group? If so, then to what end, and why didn't it work? because alien mesmer is usually like 100% effective.
Generally, yeah.
Or at least 99 point whatever. Like grays don't often fail.
Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, of course. It's all anecdotal. Might it have been an offering of some sort? Now we're getting into the territory where you and I were considering, Chris. A gift left for and rejected by the humans from whatever the species may have been. Sadly, the speculations are endless and the answers non-existent.
Like most things.
Yeah.
We
Like
cover.
all things.
Every
like religion,
fucking thing.
Cryptonaut podcast.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that. Later in the evening, the boys, along with Ramos and Arroyo, would see the pulsing, glowing device, which Ramos would refer to as his, quote, little machine,
Oh, man.
All
in the
right.
razor-sharp talons of one of the trilateral skulled beings. What the instrument was actually used for, or why it was temporarily left in the woods, is anyone's guess. And really, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But it does kind of get me like, I don't think it was necessarily a gift. It might have been a trap, but it's there.
No way to tell.
This one kid is drawn to it. His other friend, Bill needs it. Ray is dedicated to protecting his buddy. And then they don't get it. They come out, and then one of these fucking, super fisted, like iron fist fucking beings is just fucking holding it and going, no, I got that shit now. I almost feel like it's taunting them, I guess. That's
Well, like you could have had this, but you don't have it.
yeah.
Come get it.
Good try, fuckers. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard reading into it. But
You don't like my riches? And then you're like, no, I fucking don't, dude. Keep your shit. Keep your glowy shit.
Okay.
And it doesn't get any better.
Okay.
Dipping in and out of the Stygian blackness, the swarming brutes continued to torment the beleaguered boys with the atrocious, incessant clacking of their mighty claws. In his cover-up article, Corrales wrote, quote, "For endless hours, until the sky began to lighten, the beings remained in constant motion around the besieged campers," end quote. And that to me is just the most horrifying part. It's one thing if they're standing there and they're looking. That's terrifying. Like if it's a bunch of hooded, 7-foot-tall, monastic, demon-y type things just standing there, that's terrible. But this just swarming, moving, jumping, ripping through the foliage because it's dense, fairly dense rainforest by all accounts, and you hear it constantly, and it's getting within like 15, 20 feet and then veering off as long as you have a flashlight.
Right.
That just sounds terrible to me.
It sucks. That is definitely movie shit. Like if you think that that's the light, then you just like, am my battery gonna
Is it gonna
Right.
die? Yeah. It does fall
But-
somewhere between Night of the Living Dead, of course, the ultimate under siege trope, and fucking Signs to me.
Yeah.
Except they're
Yeah.
just
There's a
much
bit there,
faster.
yeah.
Just a little bit of that cornfield antics.
Yeah.
All right. At long last, reprieve came for the panic-struck 9 when the first rays of dawn finally broke on the eastern horizon, sending the heliophobic hellspawn sprinting for cover, leaving nothing behind but strange footprints that were much larger and heavier than those of the human beings. With the path finally clear, the campers abandoned their gear and made an adrenaline-fueled dash down the slope for their vehicles. But before they sped away from the scene, the young Fertian investigators, perhaps realizing that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, decided to return to the campsite and diligently photographed and made plaster casts of the creature's footprints. I got to give them full kudos
Wow,
for
that's
that.
shit,
unusual.
nice.
Yeah. They're like, fuck this.
Evidence? Go back for evidence?
I mean,
When does that happen?
they're there to find UFOs. They find something much worse, much more terrifying. They get the fuck out, and then they're like, you know what? The sun's out. They didn't even like flashlights. They could have been walking right back into the maw of fucking unrelenting evil.
Yeah.
But you know
I
what?
mean-
They said, fuck it. Why they had plaster of Paris on a goddamn UFO hunt, I don't know. Maybe that's just a standard thing.
Well, I mean, if there's things that look like craft things, then
Yeah,
you
like-
gotta,
right.
you gotta,
Imprints
you gotta
if it
plaster
lands.
those.
Yeah,
for
totally.
sure.
Absolutely. Good call.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's true. So either way, they did it, and God bless them for it. In an odd footnote to the case, and here's where we go back to the same old bullshit. The photos, valuable infrared prints, and I do know what each of those words means, and I have no idea what it means in the context of this fucking story.
Yeah, I've got no clue.
and the plaster casts of the inhuman tracks were apparently stolen by unknown parties mere months following the incident.
Son of a bitch.
Those
That
fuckers.
could be its own story if there was more
Yeah.
information on the unknown parties.
Exactly.
Look, where was it? Where was it? All in one spot?
Did you bring it to a local
was
university,
something
or was
broke
it again
into a place that
was it in
nobody
Ru-
knew about? Like,
You know, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
like-
right. I
Yeah.
mean, did you rent it? Did you rent a space? Is it in Ramos's closet?
was it just your house, right? And somebody broke in. Like, who knew about it? Who could have?
Or were you fucking lying and you had the shit and you realized it wasn't going to stand up to scrutiny, so you claimed it was stolen and acted all perturbed by it? That is honestly not my first instinct, but you can't, disregard it.
It's unfortunately very
Yeah.
convenient to be like, oh, someone stole all of our evidence. Sorry,
You know,
bye.
I don't remember what movie I saw it in. It was back in the 80s, and someone was like, oh, it's pretty convenient that this kind of a terrible thing happened. And they go, well, seeing as it was the evidence I had to prove it, it's pretty fucking inconvenient that it happened.
True.
Yeah, it's
So it
super
really
inconvenient,
is.
yeah.
But on the other hand, you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah,
I
for
know,
sure.
man. It happens all the time, dude.
All right.
I know.
All the
Well,
time.
All right. Although their evidence went missing, those involved in the bizarre night-long ordeal would never forget their hellish experience, with many claiming to suffer from vivid nightmares for years after the event. Whether the things that ran, leapt, and ripped through the foliage were the same insidious entities that were responsible for so many missing children is, of course, impossible to know. But what is clear is that El Yunque is a nexus of paranormal activity every bit as terrifying and intense as Skinwalker Ranch, the Bennington Triangle, or Mount Shasta, or any number of things. And as breathtaking as the natural vistas of America's only tropical rainforest may be, one should enter this pristine area with an abundance of caution. Because beyond the verdant expanses and diverse species of flora and fauna lies an unknown and ofttimes malignant force. One that may well regard the human race as a plaything, or worse yet, its prey.
Oh, the fucking super dramatic ending. You're going
The
to try to
Yunque.
get the psychedelic egg and then rip your fucking face off.
There it is.
Sure.
Ooh, all right.
So we're back. We're back in the national forest of El
Yeah.
Yunque.
I don't like this place.
And it's troublesome.
I'm not
it's
going
worse
there.
than the first time.
I'm not
Yeah,
going there.
it's-
But see,
super-
I want to. I think we need a Bigelow-esque NID style investment.
I mean,
I need a
yeah,
billionaire
I mean-
to set up fucking cameras to do. And I know a lot of times, and again, here that's the convenient, isn't it? Irony of the more resources are put into a paranormal place, the more deceptive it becomes. Some people say it becomes more deceptive and a little more elusive. Other people are like, well, there's more ways to capture it, and this just proves that it's really not happening, so fuck you. And I can see both sides of that fucking coin.
Right.
But I really do think there's something in LUK that bears much deeper scrutiny.
It is interesting that the description of these beings is exactly the description of the Elverdi
It's
entity.
super similar.
It's
Super.
very,
The
very much on
sketches are
point.
uncannily similar.
And also, too, interesting is that it is acting as a predator going after prey. In the first case there, where it was mimicking the voice, trying to fucking get the people to come out of the car. In this, it's definitely a coordinated effort of clearly what was like 5 or 6 of them or something
Yeah.
that were in a group.
Yeah.
And, doing this coordinated effort to get to these people, which the only thing holding it back apparently is a flashlight, which is, interesting in the fact that when it sees the light, it fucking jets.
That's absolutely interesting. But conversely,
But most animals probably would too, though.
What strikes me, well, first off, they seem to be more intelligent than animals. But I will say this: it seems like they're not being predators; they're being pricks in that they're toying with them. They're
Right.
blocking their entrance. They're swirling around them. They're terrifying. They're like,
Yeah.
"Touch my egg! Don't touch my egg! Fuck you! Get close! You can touch me! I'm going to jump off the cliff! I can't
it's-
jump off cliffs." They weren't attacking them. It seems like they had every opportunity.
Right.
If they were simple predators and this was meat, then these kids would be
if the
fucking
light,
done.
if
Yeah,
for
for
some
sure.
reason, if the light's keeping them away, though, the only thing I was thinking about that is that's a crazy fucking battery to be able to last that long unless they had a backpack of flashlights.
True.
LEDs weren't
Double Ds
around.
for days.
Yeah, there's no fucking 10 million lumens or whatever to give you daylight in your
Yeah.
pocket.
But also, like, that's the difference between something that's just strictly nocturnal and something that can't even be in the light.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Right, like this is like they're not there.
I mean, I don't.
Like, they have to not.
No, a slow
Right?
Loris,
Like-
a slow Loris will like do the heavy
It's
blink
be
and
like,
be
"Oh,
like,
fuck,
eat
light."
a dick,
Right.
dude, get the fuck away from me. And then there's other things that are like cave dwelling that just do not see light.
Right.
And when they
Yeah.
get hit with it, they're like, ah.
Yeah, they're just like, no,
Fuck out of
I'm
Dodge.
not doing this.
Yeah. All right. So they obviously have an aversion to light, and they
do.
clearly toying with these people.
But that's what I think. I think they're toying more than stalking.
Okay.
I think stalking would have resulted in the death of 9 people.
No, 100%. Like if it
Yeah.
was food, they're hunting, and these people should be dead.
Right. Or their job was something else. They're intelligent. Maybe they're at the behest of a whole different intelligence. Like, who knows what kind of hierarchy of paranormal fucking weirdness and whatever agenda these things may have that live in this area. And their job was simply this. Oh, they're up there. Keep them there until dawn. Like, for some reason, you can't. They weren't there to like scare them back to their cars so they leave. They had to stay there for some reason.
Right.
But they didn't hurt them. They just kept them there.
Like some weird security detail. Like there's some
and-
shit going on down here. You guys can't go down there.
And you can't go down there. Like, there's some shit
All
that
right.
you just
Weird.
cannot see. As if they're like the fucking Men in Black, except they're like the speedy little bug kangaroo pointy-eared monsters in black that like to
Right.
fucking tear through foliage.
I mean, I still feel like there's other ways to do it than just do that.
100%.
It's a
Like, you
lot
could've
of,
just
it's a lot of manpower.
Grab these people,
really.
knock them probably the fuck out, or done something with
Yeah.
them, right?
Sure.
To stop them from doing something other than like act like a bunch of circus fucking like.
Yeah, the
like,
whole-
I'm gonna jump off a cliff, but no, I'm not.
The whole
Looks like I
running
did.
and running and thrashing shit around or whatever. That almost seems like
Just trying to scare.
yeah,
People, it's
yeah,
just-
yeah.
Or
it's like an
corral them.
It's like an yeah, but they weren't moving off the mountain. These things were just swirling around them, so it's almost like an intimidation move.
Exactly, to keep them where they are.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying 100% I believe that's what's going on. I agree with Chris and you were both saying that it seems like a lot of manpower and effort and
It just
weird shit.
doesn't make sense.
But if they're simple animals defending their territory, they would probably be more violent. If they're predators that see us as prey, well, they would have been done for.
Right.
But they spent 8 hours keeping them in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Really.
I mean, what's
yeah.
the goddamn
I mean,
point?
Exactly.
Yeah, there really isn't
And let's
one.
not forget. Let's step back a little. What the fuck? The triple mint gum fucking trio who just fucking
Yeah, I
walk
don't-
up,
right.
Back
who
to
aren't
the-
identical but uncannily similar, but dressed identically, and then can't be fucking photographed because they're space vampires.
Yeah, they're missed.
That is, yeah, no, that's what ties it into the high strangeness, though.
Yeah, or is it
That's the thing.
unrelated and just another El Yunque fucking
It
bullshit?
feels unrelated
If
to me,
you-
honestly. But
But if you're talking about like some weird fucking Skinwalker ranch type situation where it's just some fuckhole where all this crazy bullshit happens,
Right.
It's just geographically in the same area, and then you've got UFOs and ghosts and spirits and fucking mirror men and glimmer men and these fucking weird creatures and weird pigs and all kinds of fucking shit running around. I mean, it's
Yeah.
No, you're right.
It could be.
I mean, it's funny. I used to be repulsed by high strangeness because I'm just like, that's the magic whale. It's where you add the bullshit elixir to the cauldron, and it stops being a science experiment and starts being a fucking witch's brew, and it used to infuriate me. No offense to any of our witch listeners. I meant that as a fucking analogy. So I've grown to kind of love it because all of a sudden to me, it's like, oh, yeah, you're fucked. Everything here is fucked. It's not about me trying to understand how these particular triangle-headed fuckalls fit into the fauna of, the state parks of Puerto Rico, because they don't. If they were there, we'd know about them. They'd be classified. So to try to look at it as a broader phenomenon and how it might interrelate, even though that becomes nearly overwhelming, without falling into the idea that it is what it is and just accept it as magic. I won't do that, but like trying to understand it in some sort of context is a fascinating, if ultimately frustrating challenge.
It's one of my favorite parts of it. I mean, honestly, the high strangeness aspect where it's like this shit doesn't make sense and it's probably not supposed to make sense. Good luck.
Right.
Like, that's my favorite part of it.
Yeah.
So something like this where you have this, national park where all this crazy shit's going on. Now, obviously, the loss of the 15 children, and,
so
that's just heartbreaking.
Let's
Like,
step
that
back on this.
Sucks.
Because we can have fun with the idea of, 6 semi-mantis people things corralling fucking
Yes.
some teens.
Yes.
And doing their thing, and they saw, 3, triplets that are just human missed. That's all good and well. But then when you get to the broader part of where some people never got to see their children again.
Missing. It's like
and the children might have suffered a horrible fate.
Like a missing 411.
Like best case scenario is they had to miss their parents and siblings and were never allowed to be home again. Even if it was a Magonia type situation where they were sucked into another realm, they lost contact with all their loved ones. That's best case scenario.
It's awful.
There's a lot of much worse scenarios we could go into that we're not going to because there's no fucking point in it.
Yeah, no.
And some of it's probably human brutality, but what the fuck?
It makes you wonder, like, if these creatures are native to that area, like if they're looking for prey.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately, like a kid, it's fucking heartbreaking. Though.
And if it could be food,
sucks.
and there is a case because there is going to be a third El Yunque. It's not a series like in a row. It's just going to happen when it happens organically.
Less sad kid stuff in it?
A little bit.
Okay, good.
There's more
making progress.
Light bulb headed humanoids
fun.
and
That's
there's
fun.
Missing soldiers and missing adults.
Okay.
But there is one particular case of a little girl, and I won't get too much into it, who watched her friend being dragged away by 3 foot tall man-like creatures wearing blue jumpsuits, and they said to the girl who was screaming, "Be quiet or we'll take you too." Then they tried to take her and she got away.
Oh, God damn it.
So that's one.
All right.
So yeah, El Yunque is a fuckhole. Not of natural beauty. It's stunning and it's a great place, but it's a fuckhole of paranormal hate and fucking missing children. So we'll deal with all that later. Right tonight, what we basically did was we broke down just the epic tragedy. Assuming, as Chris said earlier, it's real. Because I couldn't really deeply corroborate the missing 15.
That's the problem.
That's always a problem with these cases.
And as you mentioned, there is obviously a human element to it.
But there's a heartbreaking human element. Even if
it's
one
awful.
child, even if it was Jose Jr. is the only real case, that's still, it makes you sick to your stomach.
Yeah, no, it's just awful.
Then moving on to the Night Siege. These creatures obviously weren't interested in abducting, maybe because they weren't young enough. They're high school kids and young adults.
They're literally dealing with grown almost adults. They've got high schoolers and adults there. So you're almost like on level ground at that point.
Or maybe it is just a case, and you're absolutely right about that, Mark, of people infiltrating territory, even though it's on a well-used path in a state park that is got to be commonly visited. It is commonly visited with tourists. But if that was their way of just simply being territorial, like, we're not going to kill you, we're going to make damn sure you're not going to spend the night here again.
Yeah,
but then that doesn't happen to everybody who camps in that state park or on that particular mountain of the same name.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's perplexing. It's high strangeness. It's crazy because it's potentially cryptids. It might be aliens, though we don't fucking know. It might be fairy folk. It might be who the fuck knows, and who the fuck knows what the triplets were. And God only knows how a child disappears from a fucking moving bus.
Yeah.
No, that's the weird one. I mean, the only thing that reminds me of is when we went to Watertown to do the Watertown Vortex.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And we were talking to that woman who just claims to just
slip through the veils and communicate with the entities that live
just
there.
Like, oh, no, just fucking, I wouldn't go in there if you don't know what you're doing, because you might just fucking just
not show back up.
Yeah, because
and I'm just like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, because
nobody wants to know that. Like
the public has access to this, and like her claim was that she was walking ley lines, and that's how she could traverse dimensions, I guess. So like, cool, but it's a public fucking park with a big giant sign where kids are just running around. It's like, well, I mean,
I feel like if you really think it was a threat, you would be doing more.
Yeah,
like if people can just wander into another time or space.
Well, that's
or
why
dimension.
I would say the vast majority, of course, don't think it's a threat. They think it's a tourist spot, and if they felt like there was any real danger, they would have found a way to long since turn it into like an industrial park where fucking kids wouldn't play there.
Yeah,
they wouldn't necessarily address the weird part. And they wouldn't even do it necessarily because of conspiracy. They do it because the rational human mind is like, yeah, they're not getting stolen by fucking goblins. I can't deal with that. But it's a little bit dangerous. I don't want my kids playing here. Let's make this a waste dump or whatever, where people won't go there because it's a shit show of pollution.
I literally was
fuck
like,
it.
turn it into a landfill.
Yeah.
Like it's
Exactly.
easy. Let's just
As far as I know, no one's
dump our
disappeared.
trash. No.
She's the only person that claims her, and I think she knew some people who
She claimed that-
Trevor. She called them lifelines, but I mean, we asked her, and they are ley lines.
Ley
Right,
lines,
right,
yeah.
thing. But
Oh yeah, that's right. She did have that weird, she had that weird, thing there with it. Yeah, and apparently she did know a gentleman that like was walking and just happened to like trip into it, like, oh fuck, fairyland, better go back.
Yeah.
And then came back.
How do
a
you?
top
Jeez.
hatch.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Vaudeville.
pipe is
Yeah.
curiously
West
long.
Semi. Yeah.
Hey, what's with all these weird fucking pigs? I'm gonna fucking get out of
I
here.
know.
All right, fine. There you have it. Night Siege, the missing children of El Yunque. Thank y'all so very much for joining us. Cryptonaut Podcast. The Instas, Robert. The Twitters.
My faves.
The Facebooks. We're there. We're doing it.
Yep,
We're hanging
we are.
out. Keep sending them DMs. Thank y'all so very much. Facebook fan group. What up? Check that site out. On the Facebooks, Cryptonaut Podcast fan page. Find it. It's there. Fucking hilarious memes.
Oh my god,
The memes
yeah.
have been fire.
They're
I've been
really
fucking-
They are. They've been for a long
They're
time.
They've been,
just
they're
the
really
fucking
fucking good.
funniest, nicest people.
Hellerspace.com. Get yourself them t-shirts. Sales are always happening. Be sure to check that out. We just launched some new designs. We got the Hellerspace Fiend. We got the Gnome Life, the Hobie, and then we got the
love
Synthwave.
them.
Yeah,
Oh my
totally,
god,
totally fucking dope.
So 80s. It brings me right back.
Be sure to check those out. Also, to remember that always look for a sale that's happening. Do it then. No big deal. The patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out. $5 is a shout out in the bonus audio. The $1 gets the one bonus audio. The $5 gets no more than 4 bonus audios. Get access to the Discord. It's all there. Links are in the description of this podcast for everything that I say every week.
all the time.
So if you're like,
that's a lot of
what
stuff.
if you're like, what did Mark say about the Instas and the Twitter bots? Like, you go down to the links in here and you're gonna
And
see
there
it
it is,
all
yeah.
in there. Everything's all there.
Yeah.
I
Thank
love
y'all
it.
so very much.
Also, the reviews are phenomenal. I read them. I love them, and they help, and it's fucking fantastic.
Leave a review. We always appreciate reviews. They are definitely a welcome site on the what is it? Chartable? Yeah, Chartable. The Chartable gathers all the reviews from all the iTunes stores because there's tons of them apparently, like
all
a
right.
fucking
Okay.
shitload of them. So yeah, do all that. As you mentioned at the top of the show, we got some gifts. Holy shit! It has been a long fucking week, but goddamn it!
Oh, what a-
when I opened, we just looked over the
Yeah,
boxes.
presents
No,
ahoy. I'm like,
It's fucking
Dude,
like
it's
Christmas
amazing.
in
Fuck.
fucking
Yeah.
September. It's brilliant.
All right, so first here we got a shout out going out to Travis Smithson.
Travis.
Smith's son. Thank you so very much, Travis. Travis actually sent, and this is fucking so cool. I opened the box up. I'm like, holy shit, there's G.I. Joe toys in
oh,
here.
Jesus Christ, I know, right?
And it's the new G.I. Joe toys too, like the Star Wars Black Series, like the super articulated new 6-inch
Oh,
They-
they're
toys.
dope as fuck.
Yeah, they're wicked
Yeah,
good.
dude, and he sent 2 super fucking dope Destros, and they sent Bobby some books, which is super cool
You
too.
know I love them.
So,
oh
yeah.
my god, I'm so stoked to get into that.
Travis, thank you so very much, my dude. Holy shit, what a great box to open.
Toys
It's like
and
toys
books. Oh
and
my
books.
God.
Toys and books.
They're
Are you
fucking
kid-
cool,
We
dude.
really are forever 12, and it is a joy.
It's so dope. Also, too, Corey Simpson, as mentioned in the beginning of this podcast,
God bless you.
amazing packing job with the booze.
Oh, my
Holy
God, yeah.
shit. Excellent.
And it's so smooth. What Chris and I have officially
Well, half the
killed
bottle's gone.
Yeah, half the bottle of whiskey's
half
gone.
of
So
Rocktown, Arkansas Golden Promise Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
yes, and he also sent us
So smooth.
a sweet selection of brews that are all upstairs in the fridge. So we're gonna go
Fucking
check those
phenomenal.
out.
Thank you so much.
Totally, Corey. Thank you so very much. And also, too, this week, holy shit, George from Australia.
God damn it, George.
Jeez.
Holy shit. First of all, amazing friggin' collection of books. I believe
yeah,
no,
Jesus
he sent
Christ.
a fucking library.
Yeah.
I have an entire new wing to my UFO library now, thanks to fucking George. Dude, you're the best. I've said it before, I say it again. Obviously, my paranormal book collection is one of my pride and joys. I love it. And when you guys send more stuff, to amplify it, it not only just delights me that you care enough to do it, but it just amplifies our ability to, I don't know, look deeper into all these phenomena. So fucking thank you. And it's like Mark took one out and another one out. And it almost seemed like a joke. It was like
It was a
magic
clown
hat.
car of fucking.
It was a
you like pull up
books.
30 bucks. I'm like, they can't fit in there. How the fuck did they get here?
Well, I opened the package with the canned wombat. I'm like, oh, check
Yes!
this out. Dude, George sent us so much cool shit from Australia. It's so dope. You know, we got like a cool shot glass, and a cool,
Oh my
super cool
God.
opener. Also, too, when I open this up, there's 2 Misfits figures in there from Super 7, the retro reaction, the fucking Crimson Ghost.
Hell
What the
yeah.
fuck?
Dude, and then a bunch of super cool, famous monster stuff. So thank you to everyone that sent us gifts this week. Holy
Man, you
fucking
could
shit.
not make us happier.
Dude,
I mean,
I'm like watching, like my son's watching me open this, and he's like, "So when can I start my podcast?" I'm like, "When you're fucking 18
Oh my
years
God.
old, that's why."
When you're in your mid-40s, you're gonna get presents.
Exactly.
Just talk about things people give a shit
I
about.
love the
Yeah.
fact that your young son is like now because of the generosity of our listeners, it's like, oh, this is something I need
we're
to do
gonna
now.
get
stuff.
It's fucking not just because of stuff, but it's like,
I
oh,
want
this
toys.
seems awesome. They like you enough to do this. Fuck yeah! How can I be
Yeah,
a part
exactly.
of this?
Exactly.
Oh, Charlie rules, and
Yes.
you guys all fucking rule. The people that have sent us stuff recently and any time in the past, and obviously those that support us with Patreon and those who just support us by sending good vibes and participating in the social
Yeah,
media.
for sure.
Holy fuck.
Definitely, yeah.
We
No, thank you.
literally are surrounded by the coolest people. Like, I wanted to hang out with my friends, talk shit about fucking monsters and drink anyway. But to be surrounded by this group of extraordinary individuals has literally been one of the most positive things in my fucking near half century of life. And
Yeah.
fucking thank you.
No, it's crazy. We're just
One and all.
3 dudes talking about shit that might not be real, and it turned into this. Now we're a fucking LLC. So
Now we're an LLC.
we're an
With a
LLC.
t-shirt. Oh, did I show on my head?
The LLC T-shirt will be coming out. Thank y'all so very much, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.